is an entry into the single-legged X, which then turns into a single-legged X sweep, which then turns into a very, very simple, easy, straight ankle lock, okay? So all I'm gonna look to do here is I'm gonna look to bring myself to collar using my heels, keeping my hands on the inside. I don't want him to have any control over my knees. So as he reaches, I have the ability to control him. I don't want to be here where he now has the ability to control my knees or whatever he wants to do. So keep my hands on the inside. Use my heels to bring me to him and make my connection. In step, wrapping around the back of the knee, and keep my elbow on the inside. Here, he's going to go for a Kimura every time, okay? So from here, what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to look to frame on this. Again, keeping my elbow on the inside. I'm going to rock to my side as I elevate with this instep. Shoot through, single-legged X entry. Does that entry make sense to people? If that entry is too difficult, just do Andrew's basic entry, where literally, I believe he's just standing here square and he's just pulling himself under and shooting entry. If that's easier for you, great, do that one. I like the in-step entry. Now from here, I want to make sure my toes are turned out, my knees are pinched, and from here, I'm going to clamp on the ankle. I'm going to look to raise my hip up and turn my knee out, sitting him down. The moment I do this, I want to make sure that I maintain shin pressure into his groin, into his thigh area here, and I want to make sure that I maintain pressure into his hip. Now to be able to wrap up the ankle from here, I'm going to have to scoot myself away a little bit, because right here it's very cumbersome to get. So I'm simply going to extend and feed. When I feed here, I want to ideally have my forearm bone, that's where I like to be, right across his Achilles. And I want to make sure that the back of my arm is flush to the top of his toes. Once I get here, I flick my blade up along the Achilles, and now I can start to look to scoot myself back in. Now from here, I grab my own forearm, or I can just make a fist here, and I look to put my hand right here on the shin because I want to address the shin. I want to make sure the shin is down, and I want to make sure my blade is in the back of his Achilles here. Now from here, all I'm going to look to do is I'm going to look to hop my elbow back, dropping my shoulder behind me. And now from here, I just start to look over my shoulder. Okay?
So you're not actually closing the figure four?
If you can, great. But what you don't want to do is close it off and then start to attack with the back of your arm, okay? You always want to ideally have the blade of your arm across the back of the Achilles. Unless you go very classic, Gracie in action style, where you're doing almost a Monteleone on it, okay? I don't do it that way. I like to make sure that my blade is flush on his Achilles and the back of my arm is flush on his toes.
So you do have a little space there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And right from here, I just put my hand and I put my fist right on top. I don't know, does Andrew show it similar to that or no? Oh, okay. I mean, I probably learned it from him. All right, okay. Let's do this again. I'm gonna let you guys play with it. Scoot in, to the side, kick through, single-legged X. Up and out. I'm going to scoot myself away, making sure that the blade comes across the Achilles. The back of my arm is flush on his toes. Grab the shin, rest my fist right on top of my forearm here. Now I can pull myself back in. Now from here, I'm going to hop my elbow back, putting my shoulder on the mat, putting my forehead on the mat. Now from here, I just extend back and I finish.